We look to the heavens, boundless, and bright. In these stars, we look to the heavens for hope, guidance in a world of uncertainty. Within our universe, a mighty star shines bright over us and reflects itself to enlighten our darkness. It is from that star that our very molecules are born, boundless and bright. That mighty star commands a universe of stars that bear witness to our history and are attached to our ideas of the future. In these stars, we find our beginnings. In these stars, we learn of our endings. In these stars, in these stars.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the beginning of April episode of In the Stars with Dwayne. I'm your host, Dwayne Dunleavy, and I'm so excited to be back. I've had such great feedback on all the shows that we've done so far, and I've even figured out some great things. I know that a lot of you are starting to learn about astrology for the first time, so that's really exciting for me because I kept thinking everybody's going to know what I'm talking about. Turns out they don't. So that's exciting for me because I get to introduce you guys to different things. One of those things that we've gone over already is the astrology side of things, and we're going to continue that today. But I'm also going to start introducing tarot cards because there is a connection between astrology and tarot. So we're going to go over a little bit of that today and maybe a little bit about the houses. The houses are where each of these star areas are in the universe, and we're going to go over the horoscope and all of that kind of stuff too. It's a lot of information, but as I've said before in our first episode, that it's all for fun and it's all interesting. It's 3,000 years old. You don't want to live your life by it completely, but it's amazing how it all works out. So today, we're going to start off by just quickly reviewing what we've gone over so far. We were in Aries up until the end of March, and Aries, of course, is that sign of war. The Mars is the planet that it rules, the color red. These are people who do not like to sit around, don't like to be bored. They're very interested always in getting things done. If you have an Aries child, you might see a lot of unfinished projects, a lot of things going on in the bedroom, toys everywhere and things like that. So you want to keep those Aries minds always energetic and having something to focus on. And then we move into Taurus. I know those of you who are Tauruses, you are definitely getting excited about your time of the year because it happens to be the time of the year when we go into spring and everybody's so happy for the different changes that come about. Today I'm gonna quickly go over the previous signs that we've already spoken about. So Aquarius, that is an air sign. It's a fixed sign. The ruler is Saturn and Uranus are the planets. A couple of things about Aquarius that I want to mention so that we can definitely, and you can see here we have a photo of what the symbol looks like, which is a pot of water being dumped over, and water is knowledge. That's where that comes from. You can see the star constellation underneath it, and this is the tarot card, which is the star card. When it comes to Aquarius, the ankle, the calves, and the shins, as well as the circulatory system, are the ruling body parts. When we go into Pisces, Pisces is the water sign. It is symbolized by two fish swimming in opposite directions, denoting the constant struggle between fantasy and reality. The star symbol there, and the card is the moon card, and this has a lot to do with a lot of feeling and emotion, and a lot of intuition is what rules this card. We come into Aries then. Aries is the of course the ram. which you can see in its symbol there. And the tarot card that rules Aries is the Emperor. And you can see the two rams on his chair there where his hands go. That's to show you. And the red robe, of course, shows that it is ruling the Mars and Aries. And the part of the body that rules Aries is the head. So we wanted to make sure we got those covered. And when it comes to Taurus, now we're going into Taurus, and Taurus is, of course, the bull. Everybody seems to know that one of all the signs. The bull is, of course, usually just a head with two horns coming out of it. The reason that they use the bull is because the bull throughout mythology has been thought of as immovable. If it is not eating and grazing, it is usually charging at something. So that kind of encapsulates what Tauruses are about. Tauruses are born from April 20th to May 21st, and they are an earth sign. They are a fixed sign, and the fixed signs do not like change all that much. They are not movable. They're not easily movable. They are ruled by the planet the planet Venus rules Taurus because it also rules Libra. It can be kind of confusing. It's the one planet, Venus, that covers two different star signs. So Venus, being the planet of romance, love, beauty, health, all of these types of things feed into the Taurus characteristics, which tend to be, they love a home life. They love to relax with a good book, with a great meal. When it comes to romance, the Tauruses are definitely a great sign to be with, because once they have made that decision, and it's not easy for any of the earth signs to make the decision to fall in love and to be in love, but once they do, they are loyal, they are romantic, they are the ones that will set up the great dinners and the dates and things like that, and just they really love to live life. They're known to be pleasure seekers and pleasure lovers, which I guess you could kind of, apply that to anybody, but when it comes to Tauruses, you can really tell. Now remember, as I said in our beginning episode, that just because your sun sign is Taurus, meaning you were born between April 20th and May 21st, that doesn't mean you don't have 9 other planets, a rising, a moon. So it's very important that you don't just say, oh, I'm a Taurus and that doesn't sound like me. These are all aspects that feed into the larger scope of your astrological chart. Now, when it comes to astrological charts, everybody should be trying to figure out what their chart is, okay? And usually you can get them for free online. You just type into Google free natal chart, Natal, or horoscope chart. Now, that first image you saw was an overall chart, and that has the basically the snapshot, which you're seeing here, and then in this full shot here, you see the snapshot and you see a grid coming down with different symbols. Now the smaller shot here shows you what is basically a snapshot from above the solar system of where the planets were at the moment of your birth. Okay, now once you start to realize that, you'll think, oh, I kind of understand what this is. So as you see in this chart, there are little pie-shaped pieces. Those are the houses. That means that whenever you were born, whatever planet shows up in that house, that's what your chart says rules that house for you. Now the houses are separate. Those pie pieces, there's 12 of them, and they each rule a separate part of life, and even sometimes things. For instance, the first house is Aries, and that's what's related to. It's the house of self, and that has to do with life. So it has to do with your physical appearance, how resourceful you are, etc. The second house is Taurus. This is the house of value, and so Taurus rules the price of things, what things cost and mean to you, material possessions, cultivation, farms, backyard farms, these kinds of things, cultivating a home, cultivating relationships, families, those types of things, and so on and so forth. So we're going to continue to learn about the houses, but those are the first two, Aries and Taurus. They are also the first two signs of the zodiac. A lot of people think that we start off with January, like in the regular calendar, which would be Capricorn and Aquarius, but that's not true. The actual start of the astrological time period is starting with Aries, and then it goes on from there. So let's talk a little bit more about Taurus and what makes them so lovable. Well, your element is the earth, and all of the earth signs have this grounded stability to them. And they usually are great at making decisions, not quick at making decisions, but they make great decisions. They give good advice, usually stable advice, not the kind of advice to get up and just try something new. More like do the right thing, work the job, don't quit until you have another one. Those types of advice is what you'll get from a Taurus. The ruling planet is Venus, and like I said, Venus rules both Libra and Taurus. And so in both of those, you will find people who love beautiful things. They understand that sometimes beautiful things cost a lot of money, and they understand that sometimes beautiful things cost nothing. And that's kind of the beauty of the Venusian planets. Rulees which are Taurus and Libra, so you can always kind of count on them. The bull has been the symbol because throughout time and mythology, the bull has symbolized strength, determination, power, immovability, stubbornness. Now, everybody seems to know that the bull is the sign that is most, kind of associated with stubbornness. But actually, all of the earth signs, Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, are all kind of known, but the Taurus is definitely the most of the stubborn signs. What they tend to do is they tend to be very pragmatic about things, but also they can throw that all away for a good trip or an amazing event in life that they know um, is going to be so pleasurable to them. They will risk a lot for that. So you want to keep that in mind. If you have a Taurus child, they are prone to perfectionism, and that can be a great thing when it comes to certain jobs or areas in life, but it can also be a really bad thing because you don't want a child, or anybody for that matter, thinking that perfection is even achievable. Really, what is perfection? The absolute absence of anything that's not perfect doesn't really happen in life. And the best thing to kind of work on with somebody, a child who has Taurian aspects, is to let them know that sometimes perfection is found in imperfection, showing them the beauty of different Asian art cultures and things like bonsai trees and things like that. Sometimes the perfection of the imperfect branch is what makes it perfect. So keep that in mind if you have a Taurus kid. Tauruses are ruled by the throat and neck. So that is the body part associated with Taurus. So a lot of Tauruses may get sore throats. When they start to get sick, it starts in the throat. Sometimes they lose their voice. You may have be prone to different illnesses of the throat and neck. So you definitely want to check those things. And the colors associated with Taurus are pink, green, and orange. I believe that the best color combination for Tauruses I found has been blue and orange together, and that's a really powerful mix. The metal associated with Taurus is copper, and that's because copper is the metal of Venus. Copper, and in fact, whenever a Taurus is having an issue in their life, sometimes energy coaches and astrological teachers will tell them to make something out of copper, such as a ring or a bracelet, something of that nature. The neck and the throat. The key phrase with Taurus is "I have." So what you'll find sometimes with Tauruses is that they really value the items that they own, whether it's artwork, furniture. Some businesses that Tauruses do great in are interior design, anything to do with methodical work that requires somebody to think about what they're doing and get it done in a really thoughtful and detailed way. Now, some Tauruses will tell you, I'm not detail oriented at all, which is hard to find, but that means that their signs in their chart are not all Taurus. They could be Pisces, it could be Virgo, it could be anything else. So that's why you always want to get your charts done. Again, the friends of Tauruses know that they are really loyal. So just like in romantic relationships, if you are friends or in a love relationship with a Taurus, you'll know that they are loyal. They are very open and honest, and they love to know that someone is telling them the truth. Now, one thing that Tauruses usually are really good at, and we tend to put Pisces in this place of being intuitive and knowing things. Tauruses can sniff out a liar so easily and so quickly. They can tell by subtle movements, even the way you're breathing, sometimes how, if you're lying, how to figure out how to get you to even tell them that you are lying. So sometimes they're even not even good at just at figuring it out, but getting you to let them know in some discernible way that you were not telling the truth. So they also make great detectives, police officers, that type of thing. As a parent, you're going to find them to be very reliable. They're going to be the ones driving the kids, the group driving to coaching practice, soccer, those types of things. They also may be the actual coach of the team. Anything that requires getting people together, keeping them on a schedule. That's another Taurian trait. They're in for the long haul, and they are not the kind of sign that makes quick decisions and just throws caution to the wind. So whatever your relationship to the Taurus, you can usually be sure that it's going to be a good thing, unless for some reason they feel like you are not telling the truth, or you are not the kind of person who likes to enjoy life. That can turn off a Taurus right away. So what are the turn-offs and turn-ons of Taurus? Well, like I just said, turnoffs are going to be anything that show that you don't like to have a good time, that you're not into a good party or a great get together or a great dinner. Some of the turn ons are going to be beautiful items, jewelry, artwork, furniture, shopping for those types of things, even house hunting, looking for any kind of real estate or fixing up or designing of that real estate. Um, like I said, interior design is a great career for a Taurus, as well as anything that is somewhat methodical or requires a bit of detail orientation. It is important to remember that the signs that go along the best or most compatible with Taurus, the first and only one that's really the best match with Taurus is Scorpio. And a lot of people are scared of Scorpios, and they think that they're, whatever, they're too intense, but Tauruses really handle Scorpios well, because Scorpios are just as loyal as Taurus, and they tend to not lie, and they tend to not even talk a lot about their what's going on, and Tauruses can figure it out without even needing to talk to them. So Taurus and Scorpio actually have somewhat of a telekinetic relationship, or a telepathic relationship, so that they can understand what's going on with one another without even having to open their mouths. Some of the gemstones that are connected with Taurus, or the three top gemstones connected with Taurus, are going to be emerald, which is also a Venetian Venusian from Venus, a Venusian mineral. And also, if you go to places where emeralds are mined, such as Colombia, a Taurus might have a great feeling when they're in Colombia. That's where emeralds come from. The other thing is going to be rose quartz, which is all about health, stable life, and romance. So that's another great mineral for Taurus. And diamond. Diamond is the perfect stone. Its strength, it's has to do with forever, and so diamond is also so. if you're thinking of designing the perfect ring, let's say for a Taurus, something with either an emerald, diamond, rose quartz, or all three would be an extremely powerful piece of jewelry for a Taurus. The flowers associated with Taurus are roses and poppies. So if you want to get the perfect bouquet for a Taurus, a bouquet of roses, poppies you don't normally see as bouquet or what have you, but maybe that's out there, and that would be extremely interesting, I think, for a Taurus to get poppies as a bouquet. So you never know. Taurus is considered a yin or a feminine sign. So, and I believe that's probably because it is ruled by Venus, which is the planet which is associated with beauty, beautiful things, the good life, and that kind of thing. Tauruses, if you are a Taurus, you tend to have a clear idea, at least, of what it is you're looking for, whether that be in relationship, home life, career. You tend to be pretty set on that. Whereas some signs, maybe more of the water signs, are more a little bit like in the clouds about that, or in the water, let's say, and can't really completely get their hands around that idea until they really experience it. Whereas Taurus can really figure out what they want and really go for it. Also, just like Scorpio, Tauruses are pretty much, you got to get out of their way or get trampled, just like a bull. I mean, if a bull wants a piece of meat and you are standing between that piece of meat and that bull, you're probably going to get trampled unless you move to the side. So you'll know this also if you have a Taurus loved one or a child, that if they get something in their head, that's where they're going. And that's why this stubbornness is usually talked about, because there's no changing their mind once it's really, in their mind. The key phrase, like I said, for Taurus is I have. And so one of the things Tauruses can work on is not having that absolute association or connection with the material world. That's a hard ask for a Taurus. To get a Taurus to not completely relate to the things that they own can be very difficult, a difficult process for them, but it can also be really helpful to them. So if you are a Taurus, or you know a Taurus who's having issues, is overwhelmed, has too much to deal with, that kind of thing, something to think about is to perhaps think about how to not connect with all of the material items, but how do you feel when you're attaining those items, the work that you do to get those things. It's all based on how you get those items. Once you get the items, it's like great to have them and you can keep inventory of them and be proud of them and show them to people. But really, the energy came from wanting to be and get those things. And so that's what a Taurus needs to start to realize, is that that process is really the fulfilling part, not the just owning of things. We've got celebrities abound in Taurus sector. So let's talk about some of these celebrities who are Tauruses. We've got Miranda Kerr, Amber Heard, Gigi Hadid is one of my favorites, John Cena, Joe Carey, Kelly Clarkson, just to name a few. But there are so many. Janet Jackson, I know, is a Taurus. Stevie Wonder. So there's a lot of Taurus celebrities out there, and you can see in their work that they are usually very driven by their work. They have a clear idea of what they are talking about and what they're working toward. Now, if you are not a Taurus, what you might want to do is to get some Taurus energy. Let's say you are one of those water signs or air signs that just can't quite put your finger on what it is you want out of life or what you want to do as a career. A way to bring the Taurus energy to yourself is to wear one of the minerals, an emerald, a diamond, a rose quartz, to wear the colors of Taurus, which would be pink, green, yellow. In my opinion, orange and blue are going to be the best Taurus combination, and I believe brings the most Taurus energy. So again, you may have Taurus in your chart and you may not know it. So it's very important that everybody tries to get their natal chart. For that information, you're going to need your time of birth, location of birth, and so the exact location, the exact time, and that will give you your rising, your moon, all of the planets, and then you can see. I actually have a couple of planets in Taurus, so I do have a lot of Taurus traits. Now, of course, every sign has lucky numbers. The lucky numbers for Taurus are 6, 15, 24, 33, 42, and 51. And as I always say, it doesn't mean to go out and get a lottery ticket with those numbers, but hey, I guess it couldn't hurt. What you want to think about lucky numbers for is